Hi, everyone. I apologize for the delay. Lots of discussion in exec. We still have plenty to discuss, but um, out of respect for your time, we have cut some items short and stepped on over for you. So appreciate your patience during this pandemic.
I'm back.
Hello, Mr. Brower.
Sorry, I was getting wah, 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 wah.
Well,
Calling
welcome to
from
regular
teacher.
session.
Yeah,
I want to go back to in-person meetings and paper. Can we do that?
Absolutely. And Mrs. Havner, at this time, I have admitted all teachers or guests that were in the waiting room. We'll just make sure all of our board members get over.
Yeah, I was waiting to see. Oh, there, I see Brian's name now.
And then I will keep an eye on that waiting room to admit
Awesome.
folks through.
Thank you. All right, I think we are set and ready to begin regular session at 6:48 of Springfield Ball Charter Board of Directors this evening. And as we open up and look at our agenda this evening, we need to discuss and make a quick amendment to the agenda to table the discussion for the nominations for board officers so that we can focus our discussion this evening around later action items. Can I get a motion for that change in the?
This is Brian, so moved.
Deborah, second.
And then Cherie's here with us, isn't she?
Yes.
a moment.
Okay.
Can you hear me fine this time?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. All right, Sheila Boozer. Aye. Larry Hemingway. Oh,
Not
he's
present.
here. Okay. Okay. Deborah Weekly.
Aye.
Okay. Todd Wood.
Not present.
Okay. Mr. Rosinski.
Aye.
Okay, Mary Havner.
Aye. That passes. Thank you, everybody. So we are going to go ahead and move on to our reopening plan discussion.
All right. Let me navigate through this. I believe. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm just making sure I have the order. I'm navigating a couple different screens here.
No worries.
Thank you. All right. Um, I so we've been working no less than what I could describe as tirelessly in trying to prepare several options to return to school this year. Um, we have had small conversations, group conversations, conversations with staff and various stakeholders Throughout that time, we have collected recommendations from the Department of Public Health, the State Board of Education, CDC, and we have just tried to make health and safety the priority. I think that we have done everything we can to serve our families in the best way possible. As we close the very challenging fourth quarter of school, at Ball Charter, we saw families absolutely doing their best with well over 90% engagement, as well as a summer school program that was offered to assist families who had scheduling difficulties and who would benefit from having a teacher and teacher support that could focus on a smaller group and also with a more flexible schedule. So I just first want to say thank you to all of the teachers at Ball Charter who made March to May successful, something that nobody had planned for and nobody had been through before. And then also to our summer school staff and Mrs. Harrison, who was administrator over that summer school program, to try to fill in some of the gaps that might have been left by students not having the ability to participate March through May. We also passed or distributed a parent survey so that we were able to receive feedback from parents as really a stakeholder survey at the end of the school year, which has helped us in making some decisions. And then we also surveyed parents in regards to what their prioritized choice, what their preference would be between a fully remote learning experience, or a hybrid experience. And so that was helpful. And I think after that, we held some virtual forums so that parents could ask questions or share their feelings on the matter. Again, I think this is what was best and healthiest for our school community at Ball Charter, so that parents could feel more at ease with the decisions that they were making, or at least more informed about ways that the school was going to move forward. So we also thank our stakeholders for contributing to the survey and to our community conversations. I still have people coming in the waiting room, so be patient with me because I'm trying to navigate through both. All right. So we do kind of, want to note that the development of our reopening plan is ongoing. There's no district right now that has all of the answers. We will have to adapt to environmental changes. And we certainly want to be supportive of our teachers and our families who each have unique situations. So far, we've received overwhelming support from the majority of teachers and parents. And so we just really wanted to say thank you for making this process collaborative and cohesive. So the two options that we presented so we presented three options, of course, in our first survey. But as we talked about our return to school, and according to registration, we were offering parents two options, a remote learning option or a hybrid opportunity where the students at Ball Charter would be on a 2-week rotation and also focusing, and this is very difficult for my teachers. I just want you to know, like, being able to still feel like they have one classroom and to treat our remote learners and instruct our remote learners the same way or with the same energy that we provide for our in-person learners. In a larger school district, it's very difficult to do. And please remember, we are partners with School District 186, even if we go in different directions. But we were brought here as a charter school to be unique, to have a sense of independence, and to pilot opportunities that could easily be done at one school, but maybe not at 40 schools. And so we also appreciate our partner in District 186 supporting us when it comes to very difficult decisions, like the best way to schedule, the best way to create a rotating schedule for students. With our set class size being 24 and with over 100 parents indicating that they would prefer a remote learning option only, we were looking at class sizes of just 8 to 10 students at a time within the building, which we felt would made the opportunity a safer opportunity for staff and students, because the children could be more easily managed with smaller class sizes. Up to this point, the ILT, which is our teacher leadership group, has led their teams in developing different schedules so that we would be ready for every scenario. So we've been looking at the hybrid model, a daily schedule for the hybrid model, and a daily schedule for remote only students while the hybrid, which that's what the hybrid is, during the blended learning period, and then yet another schedule if we were to go remote only school-wide. Took a lot of work, a lot of work. I did want to note here under the remote learning option, because we had some questions from parents about homeschooling. And parents might choose that option because their daytime schedule is difficult. And so scheduled Zoom meetings and things might be hard to maintain. But we wanted to let our parents know the two options were remote or hybrid. You couldn't, if you chose homeschool, you would have to withdraw from Ball Charter and from the district. That paperwork's available at the Regional Office of Education. And of course, we want to hold on to as many families as possible, and shared with families that we would do whatever we could to support them in a remote learning hybrid situation. I also wanted to note the guideline that the state superintendent determined that remote and blended remote learning days must ensure at least 5 clock hours of instruction or schoolwork for each student. That's different from last year. And for anybody who attended the District 186 meeting last night, I believe Board Member Mathis stressed to parents that this is not the same, that rigor would be increased, accountability would be increased at the middle level. The grade system would go fairly back to normal, and we would use the info system to make sure we communicate that with parents. Here are some things that make Ball Charter special and unique. Because we have a set class size and a set number for enrollment, if we had families that chose remote only, we're more than happy to welcome them back to a hybrid schedule, because it would still limit our numbers in the classroom to reasonable social distancing standards. And I felt like a lot of parents felt good about that, because it's hard to make a permanent decision at this time with the way the world is changing weekly, if not daily. And so it was really nice for us to be able to offer that to our parents, to say, if you want to start remote, but find that you feel more comfortable and you're ready to come back to in-person learning, then if they were at Ball Charter, they could make that decision. So that's what took place over the summer, and those are the items that were communicated with our families. Looking at today, August 4th, it was important for my administrative team to look at health and safety considerations for our return to school. ISBE stands for the Illinois State Board of Education. IDPH is the Illinois Department of Public Health. And you can find the information at either site, but it was documented and shared from the State Board of Education site that in order to move from phase 4 to phase 3, Sangamon County would need to see a sustained rise in positivity rate, hospital admissions for COVID-19 like illnesses, a reduction in hospital capacity, excuse my typo, and a significant outbreak. And it is at that point where the governor would say that would require all schools to go remote. So how are we doing in Sangamon County? As of August 3rd, Sangamon County currently had a positivity rate of 4.3%, which places us in the warning phase of the Governor's Restore Illinois plan. Currently, we have had 20 days of positive test increases and 4 days of increased hospitalizations. Again, if you listened into the District 186 board meeting, there were many people who spoke on both sides. Families who feel like their children need the support of in-person learning, teachers who can't wait to get back to their students. We also heard board members, parents, and teachers concerned because it is the opinion of several healthcare professionals that is simply not safe to return to school. And we also know that in the case of if we have positive cases in the building, it could require a shutdown of at least 2 days instantly. We do feel that this would be an inconvenience, and I'm speaking for the admin team, to our families to possibly get started for a short time and shut down with just even one positive case. We're already going to be on a rotating schedule, and we want to make this experience this school year as consistent as we can. I don't think either option is ideal, but what we can shoot for are both safety and consistency for our staff and for our families. So at this time, the administrative team at Ball Charter School is recommending that the board approve our opening a remote school-wide instruction only. So with all of our students connecting to their teachers and receiving instruction from staff remotely, we feel strongly that we need to support our families. We want to stress that making a change like this does not indicate that parents are on their own in trying to work through the challenges that remote learning presents. We ask you to remember that we are a small learning community, that we are family oriented, which is what's demonstrated in our sibling priority for lottery applications, and also the fact that we are a K-8 school and we are able to keep siblings together longer and make it easier for our families, that we care about our families. Our teachers, in developing their own remote learning schedules, are committed to instruction with interactive lessons and activities. We are not going to put your children on a remote platform where they receive pre-recorded instruction from the platform and then asked to simply answer a few questions. Our teachers may pre-record lessons so that parents have more convenience and students have more access to those lessons, but they will be coupled with interactive lessons and activities. And I wanted to stress that these are intentional because many people are concerned about social and emotional health and the socialization skills that their students will develop. And our teachers, several of our teachers have already undergone training to learn ways to enhance the remote learning experience, and we will continue to provide that development throughout the school year. We will also want to offer informative reporting, which, to be honest with you, I think our teachers did an outstanding job of March through May, which was staying in contact and communication with parents, calling especially those middle level students when they were getting behind to give them an extra nudge of encouragement and remind them that they are missed when they do not participate in classwork. We also will be discussing opportunities for teacher mentoring. I am in favor of actually having our staff able to adopt just one student or one ball charter family that they can check in with on a daily basis. Again, to make sure that we remain connected, to offer extra support, and to make sure that we remain a tight school community. Our families will continue to receive support from our resource staff, our interventionists, our social workers, and administration. We will still be at work. Right now, our school buildings are open. As long as the governor keeps our school buildings open, then teachers are able to work from school, where at Ball Charter, we have smart boards for grades 2 through 8, which are going to really open up more remote learning capabilities, improve the level of presentation for instruction, and also allow our teachers to step away from their homes, which sometimes it's very difficult. You don't have all of the resources that you need. But we will also be working with our teachers, number one, to make sure they're safe, especially those who have compromising health conditions or those who are responsible for taking care of family members that might have health concerns. We feel really good about giving those teachers the safest environment to do their jobs, which will be a classroom that they are in by themselves or working from home if necessary. In addition, our PTO has already begun conversations about developing a new approach. At this time, we're not able to have many social events or fundraisers, not to say that there won't be an opportunity for some, but our PTO would like to join with other Ball Charter parents to make connections and perhaps help to support some of our families who could work together for the purpose of childcare, or just so that students can be solid peers to each other, keep a little bit of that socialization within an inner circle group, and also sharing with each other what the community offers, in addition to the school and the school support services that might be of benefit to our students and families. In fact, and I will be sharing this, but I just came across a program. Well, we were invited to participate in a program today where high schoolers who need community service hours for NHS and other, and just because they would like to, but where teenagers can work through an organization to tutor students remotely. And so that's another example of, even if it's not the Ball Charter teacher, there are opportunities out in the community that can help parents keep their students focused even while at home. And all we're asking parents to do is really communicate. There really isn't too much I wouldn't do to make sure that we're helping families. We have hand delivered food items. We have hand delivered electronic devices. We listen to our families. We try to be there for our families. So we want all of our families to stay at Ball Charter, enjoy Ball Charter, and all we ask is that you communicate and then partner with us to make sure your child is logged on. Once they're logged on, that teacher's going to work just as hard as possible to keep that student engaged and to be able to effectively assess their learning. But for many of our students, we just need for the parents to make sure that they are logged on to their devices. And of course, this time, completing assignments on time. That's a little bit different from March to May. We had a lot of flexibility, and kids were given a lot of extra time to complete their work. We want them to develop a good work ethic, even in a challenging time. And so if they can develop that skill of managing their time well and participating, it is something that they will be able to use for the rest of their lives. We want our families to know that we are ready for blended learning at any time. The calendar that is going to be approved this evening is color coded to show the A and B rotation of students. So at any time that we would return to in-person learning, parents will already know what day their child is supposed to get on the bus or is supposed to be dropped off at school. Around the school, we have signage with safety procedures for COVID. We have plexiglass installed in our main office to protect our office staff. We have indicators, vinyl stickers on flooring in places such as the cafeteria to keep our kids socially distanced. We even have those placed outside, so when they return from play, students can see right away how to safely line up on our blacktop. We are working with food services to make sure, whether we are remote or in person, that there are always opportunities for families to come and make pickup meals so that students are fed for breakfast and lunch. And that is another place where, again, we're willing to go over and beyond for our families. So if the situation improves, if our positivity rate is significantly less, then we would like an opportunity to reevaluate our situation and try to get back to in-person learning. Again, we are committing to families and teachers knowing their schedules and classroom assignments by next Monday. I haven't shared this, but right now, what's documented is that we have one family right now at Ball Charter that has not yet completed their registration. And we know that there's been some challenges with technology, there always are, but I have to applaud all of my Ball Charter families for getting their registration done so that we could be prepared for this meeting today. In terms of our enrollment numbers, I will be transparent that we had around 166 families that wanted to go remote learning only and 216 that wanted to go hybrid. However, conversations that I have had with several parents already who went hybrid is that they trust us as a school and as an administration in doing what is best for their children. And so while hybrid would have been preferred, they trust that we will do that when we feel it is most safe to do that. And again, we already have that information up front for you guys. I'm just saying it will be an easy transition if and when we go back to a blended learning model. So if the board approves this model this evening, what are the next steps for us as a school? As I've stated, a lot of work has already been done in developing schedules and lesson plans for remote learners. But what we would like to do is to observe checkpoints that would provide return to in-person indicators. Again, such as a reduction in hospitalizations, a reduction in positivity rate, the support of community medical professionals to returning to school. Those checkpoints for us as a board and as an administration will be near or on August 31st, which is when the rest of our partnering district will return to school. Our second checkpoint would be at or just before the end of the first quarter. So we could see if we could possibly return second quarter. And then our third checkpoint would be at the end of the semester over our holiday break, determining if we are ready to come back in January. So, and I say that to let our parents know that we know that some families have students at Ball Charter and in the district. So we do want you to know that even though we do have the freedom to make our own decisions, we are in partnership with School District 186, and we will always review their data in this situation. Administrators will be contacting families who communicated in a previous survey that remote learning was not an option for their family. We want to support them, and whether it is childcare, whether it's behavioral concerns, whether it's academic concerns, we want to make sure that we support you in that and that you know you're not alone, and let you know that we will continue to work with you until your situation is resolved. If it requires some additional flexibility on our part or on the part of our teachers, certainly that's what education is all about. Every student is different, and our teachers have demonstrated flexibility in the past. And honestly, I would describe it as compassion from March to May, and we're not going to stop doing that for our families. I had mentioned the PTO meeting, and that is actually tomorrow, the first PTO meeting at 7:00 p.m. I will send it out, a link to the Zoom and the email, and then I'll ask them to go ahead and post that on the school website under their PTO page so that you guys have access to that. In a full school-wide remote learning situation, there is an opportunity for food distribution. That would be from 7:30 a.m. to 9:00 a.m., Monday through Friday. Parents would be able to utilize our Circle Drive and pick up a breakfast and lunch option at that time. You would not have to return for lunch. They prepare both, and from what I saw this summer, I mean, just an excellent job from our food service. They will provide a monthly menu, just like if your children were in person. So you will already know in advance what you're driving over and picking up. But it is a combination of hot food. It's not just cold grab and go. So we encourage you to take advantage of that if that will help your remote learning experience. At this time, we are also in talks with community organizations so that we can offer full-time childcare on site. We already have our CCC program, but at this time we are looking to expand in certain ways, and that would be in such a way that it would require a community partnership. And so we want parents to know, if your reason that you can't do remote learning is because you need full day childcare, right now we are working on being able to provide that for you still at Ball Charter for a very affordable cost. Student device distribution, we did, again, thank you to District 186 for assisting Ball Charter in purchasing technology through the CARES Act. Every single one of our students has their own Chromebook and carrying bag or case for that device. We don't want families to have to go out and purchase more technology. And so we will very soon set a schedule for curbside pickup of your student device. We still want to start the first day of school. We do not want to push back our school calendar so that we end school later in June. We are utilizing the first 2 days of, we were previously scheduled to start on the 13th, but we are going to use the 13th and the 14th um, for additional remote learning, training, and preparation days that the governor offered to schools without having to extend their calendar. And then we're asking that everybody start fresh on August 17th. And again, the benefit of that is we are not extending our school year later into June. And again, we're just talking next steps, not all steps, but that we would rapidly determine what days we could offer training. And, I conveniently called it our Parent Academy to assist our parents and guardians in navigating through the technology so that not only, you can support your student, but especially for our youngers, even helping them log on the first few times, they will certainly need assistance. What I will say is I think that my child was able to unlock my cell phone by the time she was 2 years old and actually send text messages because she knew how to use the voice to text feature. And so I do have a lot of confidence that many of our students are very literate in technology, very skilled in technology. And these are also devices that most students are already using at school. And many of the programs that they already use in class and in our previous remote situation. So what we're asking tonight that the board would approve our 2020-2021 revised calendar for the remote only option, which means that every Monday will be a remote learning day that will give our teachers additional planning time. So there won't be face-to-face contact necessarily on Mondays, but then Tuesday through Friday, that our teachers, again, which they've already begun developing schedules, would have more contact in terms of providing instruction Tuesday through Thursday, with Mondays being remote learning and planning days. We also, in this plan, includes evaluating safety at those determined checkpoints. Again, when School District 186 opens for in-person learning, the end of the first quarter and the end of the semester. And again, we are asking our board tonight to vote for to approve school-wide remote learning only. And I just want to close by saying that we respect all parents and the decisions they will make regarding their child's education. For me, this is not a political preference. This is not the administration picking one group over the other. And certainly, this is not an attempt to inconvenience our families. Safety first. Supporting our teachers as best we can, and really exercising the flexibility that we have by being a school of choice. Our goal is to take this journey together. So we are cheetahs, whether at school or at home, and we stand united that safety must be our priority. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that. At this point, fellow board members, does anybody have any questions or comments that they would like to share?
I just like to comment on the fact that I just want to commend Tiffany and the team, ILT, who's worked over the summer, putting this together, all the time and energy, the thought, and everything, and to really take in consideration as you're presenting your plan of all things that need to be considered. So I know it's not easy. Decisions that have to be made are not taken lightly. And I just personally, as a member of this board and a member of this community, just want to say thank you to all of you, because sometimes I think we forget to do that. And I want to take this time right now just to say thank you, because I know this work is not easy and it shouldn't be taken for granted. So I appreciate you all.
Thanks. I really kind of want to echo your statement, Sheila, because it is an intense amount of work that we never thought we would be doing at this point in time. So we really do appreciate everybody that jumped in to help out and develop the plan and look at it so thoroughly and so carefully. It's very well thought out. I really appreciate looking at all of the different angles and the way that it impacts the families that we serve. So just kudos to all of you for involving your stakeholders throughout the springtime situation, and then in the development of the plan, then through the summer. So thank you.
Tiffany, this is Brian. With the recommendation for the remote only, there's going to be a few areas that teachers and parents obviously are going to care about, a little bit more. And we haven't touched on in a while, but the platforms, I know each grade, there's a bit of a preference that we kind of give flexibility to the teachers to use historically, or even pre-COVID. And if you could just remind me of that, and even parents, what maybe they typically are with the different grade levels.
Well, what I will say is, and I can name them off. For instance, Class Dojo is a way a lot of our primary teachers communicated. Our primary students in the spring did not use electronic devices. They used paper workbooks, and then participated in Zoom activities and instructional time with the teachers. But in the spring, we used Study Island, which again, it provided some prepared instruction lessons, video lessons, quizzes, practice. And for us, it was great, especially since that happened so quickly, because it provided attendance data, it provided standard-based lessons and instruction. And then it did give some flexibility to teachers to create their own lessons within it. And again, at that time, we were looking for consistency because many of our teachers had not been trained in the area of remote learning. But especially after 3 months of practice, our teachers had a lot of ideas of their own. It's something that we celebrate at Ball Charter. In fact, is the development of curriculum by the teachers themselves. And so we chose to invest in the Clever app or site. And what Clever does is it creates a dashboard for students, and it is a one-stop shop. It was what we hoped Study Island would be, because Study Island, you would go log in to one thing, and all of your courses could be there, all of your subject areas. But Clever actually allows you to include any other site that you're using, and it's a safe place to save the passwords for that student. So it actually works with Study Island. It works with our American Reading Company e-library that we do have a full subscription to. So our students will have ebooks that are leveled for them to access. And again, Google Classroom, which is the preference of our middle level team and our Encore teams. And it still will support students by having all of the resources that they need to utilize in one spot. So I really can't tell you the whole list, Mr. Wojcicki, of what they will use. What I will say is that this year, our teachers have much more flexibility. From the Bitmoji classrooms that I've seen so far, too, they are flexing a little bit. I have to give them credit. They have found ways to make remote learning more engaging than what we were able to offer through Study Island.
And you had mentioned the child care, that's obviously going to be a highlight. did you touch on the numbers? I mean, I know the 31st was when you thought, no guarantees, but that you recognize the importance of it, how many numbers we were maybe thinking we could accommodate.
Well, social distancing guidelines and state guidelines require that you have no more than 50 people in one space. So we would be utilizing our gym for childcare. And so it would have to be 50, including employees. Again, with 396, that's quite a bit of our student population in need. And I also feel that it's consistent with those who already take advantage or those who are already enrolled in our charter child care program.
Will those families who are already enrolled in the charter childcare program have preference? Is that what, or is there a way in which, how are you going to determine, I guess is the question.
Right. I think that'll be part of the plan moving forward, especially with the community partner that we bring in to work with us. If I would say this, that if it was overwhelming, if we had overwhelming numbers, there is still possibility for expansion. We're fortunate at our school that we have a separate cafeteria and gym. So at this time, I'm just recommending the space, but many of these sites actually have larger programs. And so we could still accommodate that with social distancing guidelines by using 2 spaces. And I do not see us needing more than 80. I don't see that at all. I do think the 1 will be sufficient, but yes, we do have a contingency plan for expansion if necessary.
How are you envisioning the request coming in? Sorry if you covered that, and just knowing who was needing it.
We're able to survey our parents. We have very high response rates when we send surveys to our parents electronically. And so we're able to collect the information that way.
And then also just to clarify on that, we're looking at keeping that situation and those students in that setting contained in that one area, so then teachers would still have the ability to have access to their rooms and their materials and things like that, correct?
Correct. And again, our gym is very spacious. So there's plenty of room. We have a large playground. We have a large field that they would have access to. And we do have locker rooms and bathrooms in the gym area. So students would not necessarily even have to leave the gym to go to the restroom.
And then also with the idea of going remote, it does not impact kids' ability to participate in any extracurricular activities that may still continue on in the fall, correct?
That is correct. They would still be able to participate in IESA sports. And hopefully, I personally used to hold the Glee Club as an extracurricular activity. So we're also looking at creative ways to still meet in some of those groups remotely and have some virtually engaging extracurricular activities for our students.
I know we're planning on maybe a reassessment at the end of the month. And then I think first quarter and first semester you had set as recommended to other times, right?
Yes, sir.
I think I am going to make a request, maybe more formally, to the county, just so we have the numbers since 4th of July, since the holiday weekend. From my perspective as a board member, I mean, if I'm given the metric of a 7-day rolling average for hospitalization and positivity rate, and you guys have done a good job grabbing the numbers you can, but I'm gonna put a FOIA request in them tomorrow, just so we can have that for that next meeting. And I think maybe regularly it would be the 24th or the end of the month, so it would be timed with that date.
And I do have those dates for the board meetings in your, those are in your virtual board packet in the drive.
For the next dates.
Yep, for the school year. And we have also taken a look at District 186 to make sure there aren't conflicts. Let me see.
If we
I'm
do,
okay if there are.
no, you're
Sorry.
not allowed to get out. No, you're not allowed to
Come
get
on,
out.
Brian. Have a little grace for me.
You know, and if we do, you know, and review this and we do go back, I mean, obviously I'd hope, you know, we don't jump around too much on parents and teachers either way. You know, so that's why I also wanted to be straightforward with the two areas that I'm going to be looking at when we make that reassessment at the end of the month. But also the one thing that comes to mind, you know, that if we did hybrid, if we moved into a hybrid world, COVID's still going to be around for a while. There's still disinfecting and cleanup. And I kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit. You had mentioned the possibility of a 2 to 5 day shutdown for a positive case in a school. And obviously we're starting remote online. It avoids those situations. But I would ask if you wouldn't mind just looking at that a little bit more. I say that in part because of, again, going by what I'm given. And this, when the State Board of Education put out their recommendation, and not, I'm just referencing it so that people know where I'm looking. It's pages 30 and 31 of their document. It talks about the area of a school, you know, closing off an area that was, you know, impacted. We obviously have a lot of space, you know, with us, and close contact in the area that a student may have been. I would just maybe ask to think about that, because one positive case, it's likely until we get herd immunity or a vaccination if we go back to hybrid. And if that does mean that your recommendation is to shut down the school for 2 to 5 days, it's hard for me to support even going back to school if the entire.
It's not my recommendation. Yeah, it's not my personal recommendation. We actually have a 6-page document within District 186 that lays out. It's the part of the school return to school plan, but it provides all of the guidelines and procedures of when to visit your health office, proper use of PPE, communicable disease monitoring, and then also referring back to IDPH interventions when in regards to when we would close the school for cleaning. So part of that came from a conversation directly with Human Resources at District 186. But the nice thing about having that partnership is I have a whole administrative office at 1900 West Monroe who will tell us, yeah, you need to shut it down. So the nice thing is we're not out here alone in that, and it's not a decision I would make unilaterally. It would be based on something that was mandated.
And that would be my ask, then, even what that would look like. Because if we did it, you know, it's important if a parent hears one kid sick, and then there's the understanding that that's going to mean the entire building shut down, or there is a more nuanced review of what actually happens, that I think will be important to know too if we go to a hybrid.
Yeah, we have additional guidelines to make sure we maintain confidentiality of those individual students, and also to follow up to find out who was in close contact with those students and how we define close contact. So District 186 has already done a lot of work of putting those procedures into place. And surely they will already be set before they return to school as well. So I appreciate that though, but yeah, we're working on it.
And Tiffany, I appreciate you going back to that, because we've had many conversations in 186 with administrators. No one wants to be that administrator who did not follow the proper protocols or procedures based upon, because this is what I think we ought to do. So following what CDC and the phase 3 return to learn, Return Illinois, Restore Illinois plan is your best guidance. And it does say, you know, within 24 hours, it's what it says right now, within 24 hours, if it's deemed that it's safe to return or to open up the space, you can. So just know you have full support of us as 186, as the board here, for you to do what is best and what is according to CDC and not according to Tiffany or Sheila Boozer. Because I'm not a doctor. I don't
I'm not
have a
either.
degree in that. I will have my doctorate, but it will be in education, not in medicine. There's people who do that. So what I'm saying is I appreciate you following the lead of those who went to school to do this, because we do education. So, and taking consideration of your families and your staff and your kids, all of them in consideration is a job well done, and it is not taken lightly. And I want to say again, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I haven't thrown my appreciation line out yet, so I appreciate you too. Tim.
But you do. We know, we can see it in your face.
I do. I
We see it in
do.
your grin, your smile.
I do.
Thank you.
Matt, am I on?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Deb.
I'm so sorry. I've been trying to wait patiently. I just wanted to also commend the work of Ms. Williams and all of the teachers for putting together the curriculum and the processes that we're going to be going through. I know there are many parents out there who have concerns that want their kids back in the school. I, as a parent, think that it would be much easier to tell my children, you know, you're going to start off at home. And then it would be much more exciting for them to say, hey, at this point, you are going to get to go to school, than to start off and then have to revert back and, you know, stay at home and transition back and forth into the going and coming. So I think this is a great start for the students to have some stability, to know where we're starting at least, and then be able to work our way back in there. So as far as for the healthcare field, I see the numbers. I'm in the healthcare profession. And so I see that we're not trending in the right direction. I had my children signed up for the hybrid program, but I'm thankful now that we are going to start off with remote learning so that they can transition easier back into that once we see that it's safe for them to go in there. So thank you for all your hard work that you guys have done, for putting their safety first, both you know, health-wise and then socio-emotional. I think it'll just be so much better to transition them back in at a later date when we know what the numbers are going to be more like.
Thank you.
I did forget to ask, and my apologies. Yeah, and you know, it's kind of near and dear to my heart. The special ed community, if IEPs, and you know, how, is it going to be handled differently in those situations than in March, in April, or how are we handling that?
We do receive guidance from District 186 and of course them from the state. So again, we have support there too, but they have virtual IEP plans, because their regular IEPs often have to be modified. But we work very closely. We have an excellent caseworker here who makes sure that we are meeting all of those guidelines appropriately. We did meet over the summer so that I could maybe present some items, and there wasn't a lot ready to share out at that time. But I will say, my teachers worked really hard in that area, March through May. Again, I have to commend Mrs. Harrison for supporting families of students that have IEPs to make sure those needs are met. At Ball Charter, that is a priority for us. And even in a hybrid situation, we were looking at opportunities to have those learners who need it the most have more regular attendance. So we are keeping our eyes on those guys, but they will be assigned their minutes. We have a wonderful resource staff. And in fact, this will be safer for our resource staff. When you're in public school system, unfortunately, they don't always get the big fancy large space classrooms. I would say in some buildings they're working in closets, and right now that's just not the safest environment for them. So I believe that our special education staff will also be appreciative, especially those that might have health conditions that are concerning themselves or family members, that they are going to be able to do a fantastic job from that space, but remotely with their students. But we receive guidelines for that as well.
Any more comments or questions from board members at this time? Okay, so we will move on in our agenda to the public comments this evening. Mrs. Williams, do you have the list of individuals who submitted a request to speak?
Ms. Marquise has that at this time.
Excellent. And so just as Ms. Marquise calls off your name, remember that we are asking that you keep your comments to 2 minutes at this time. And Ms. Marquise, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. We do have a timer set for 2 minutes, and I show the first public comment is parent Kenzie Proctor. Kenzie Proctor, are you available?
Okay, shall we go on to the next, and then we can always loop back around just in case she jumps back on.
Okay, I show secondly signed up is Brooke Croak. And when you want to start, you have 2 minutes, Brooke.
Hi, thanks for having me speak tonight. I am the parent of a soon-to-be first grader and have had a really hard time deciding what will make sense for our family. So I know it's so hard for everyone, including myself, and I just appreciate the discussion. I did want to mention a couple of concerns I have. One is something that Principal Williams touched on, just working parents and the flexibility that's going to be allowed for people who may be working at home, maybe out of the home, and can't necessarily easily fit into the daytime schedule, but still want to try to mash up with the requirements of schooling. So any word on the flexibility, or if that's even a possibility for parents like myself. And then also, I had some questions just about what the benchmarks are for moving back to hybrid, if that's something that's still to be determined, or if it's a certain positivity rate. And lastly, just curious on the requirements of kindergarten compared to maybe an 8th grader, and what that day-to-day would actually look like for maybe the 5 hours, if that's what's required during the middle of the day. Thank you for your time, and I know there's a lot more to discuss, but I'm really happy with what's been discussed so far tonight and recommended.
Ms. Marquise, do we have a large number of speakers this evening?
No, we do not. We have one other parent after this.
Okay. I do think by going all remote, it actually creates more opportunities for flexibility. One of the biggest challenges our teachers were going to have was to be there 7 hours a day for in-person students and still meet and support our remote learners who we know have sometimes other things going on during the day and would require some assistance in the evening. And so our teachers will have the ability to have some flexibility in their schedules so that we can meet those needs. I do think that is easier to do in a fully remote setting. I think your other question was about those guidelines. They kind of aren't what we had March through May. Was still very useful data in terms of attention percentages or attention. Give me the word. Ms. Boozer, you know what I'm talking about?
The engagement numbers?
Engagement?
Kind of, but yeah, just how long your child can pay attention to a lesson.
Attention span.
Thank you, something like that. So are you with me? Attention span. So
Yeah.
we will still we still think that's very useful data. And we just want to make sure that the children have ample time to connect and interact with their teachers. But I do believe that will be very reasonable. The only thing we wanted to make sure that our kids have is the opportunity to learn. A good deal of last spring was review at first as we developed a remote plan or picked a remote learning platform. And I think at this point, teachers are ready to move forward and move ahead. I think the biggest takeaway is we don't want parents to feel like they're alone in this. We really want parents to, I mean, generally kids can sit in front of the TV for a very, very long time. We're hoping that we can turn the TV off and visit the classroom on the computer so that the teachers can provide the instruction. We're not asking parents to do that.
Thank you. Ms. Marquise, do you have our next speaker?
Yes, next speaker is Declan Benninger.
That's Declan Benninger, and I yield my time. It was covered by Brooke's question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is that all of our scheduled speakers?
Also at this time, I had a parent email and wanted something read, so I will do that at this time.
Sounds good.
This is from parent Caitlin McDonald. She wanted her few questions she proposed. Will the board agree on an actual metric like positivity rate or percentage of positive cases in the prior 7 days that would trigger a return to remote versus hybrid option? This would give clarity to parents and teachers over what the board considers a safe environment to open schools. That was her first question. Second question, will parents be providing training to assist with remote learning? And thirdly, will our students be online for the entire day, or will it be developmentally appropriate for their age group? K through 8 may need 5 full hours of instruction plus homework. May not, that is.
Right. And I would say that I like the wording of that it will be developmentally appropriate. And I read in the reopening plan up to 5 hours. So yes, we would see that for the middle level team. And I think what I can commit to as a school is making sure that there are meet the teacher Zooms where the teachers can really discuss the expectations. And then again, we encourage communication. So if at some point it's too much, or if at some point it's not enough, and we did hear quite a bit of that coming out of May. My child could do a lot more than that. A lot of parents who were ready for more rigor, then I really do believe that you can communicate with your teacher and get that done. We also have some additional staff that are non-classroom teachers who are also eager to participate in this remote learning process. So whether it is tutoring or an extension or an enrichment opportunity, those are the kinds of things that we're looking for to make this a better and well-rounded remote learning experience. So we will definitely, try to share some of those things from the school's perspective during kind of a meet the teacher open house opportunity. I think the other part is probably to the board in terms of really determining, okay, where do we need to be in order to return? And we do have a board meeting scheduled. Our regular board meeting is scheduled this month and still prior to District 186 opening. So it correlates with the time that we would review what the health and safety outlook of our county is.
Miss Lord, I'm tired. Miss Williams, could you speak a little bit again because there's a couple of questions on the side regards to the childcare piece and the availability, and what that day may consist of, because I think you have some families who are concerned with, will their child be able to get some work done if they're at work? And I believe we kind of spoke a little bit to that, but maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on the purpose of the childcare that would be offered during the school day, and how, if that's going to be an option for families.
Right. Again, it's not an option for all families. We're not opening school. So, but we want to, and I think even if you review ISB guidelines, you're really trying to make sure you're taking care of those with the greatest need in that situation. So I have already identified, there have already been families that have indicated that they have no other option. They have no other family. They don't have a flexible work schedule. And so we want to make sure that we're able to support them, but we are not reopening the school. That program is not a substitute for school, because the school is not a babysitting service. That program is there to take care of your child, and then they will make sure that they are able to log in and follow the schedules while they are attending that program. And again, just looking at a couple other questions, students are still able to participate in any IESA sports, whether they are remote or in person at this time. And this is a decision of District 186. There are some other districts who are not participating in school sports this year, but right now we have cross country, softball, and baseball that are in season with upcoming tryouts. Reaching out for support can go directly to the teacher or the administrators. We have a network, including our behavior interventionists, reading coaches, social workers. We still will have our problem-solving team for students that are facing some academic challenges and want a team to take a look at that. So it's just a matter of sending an email that you need to speak with an administrator, and we will be sure to reach out and do our best to support you. And if it's with homework, I do think that starts with the teacher. And like I said, we have some other staff that do have additional time during the day to be able to do some small group or individual tutoring sessions. And that will develop as we are made aware of needs. And for the old folks trying to use Common Core math, I'm a principal and I'm there with you. I have a 17-year-old daughter who usually helps my 10-year-old. But I will make you guys aware. Again, I was really to hear from that other, I heard from that other organization that right now is actively signing up high school students that want to do virtual tutoring sessions for free. You know, I think we get that word out right now and get lots of our families signed up. It will help those students build maybe some new relationships, help those high schoolers develop some leadership and mentoring skills, and maybe give you some help when it comes to that homework piece.
I put in the chat, they can use a Khan Academy. Old folks,
Khan
go to
Academy.
Khan Academy.
AHAN. So. Right now, there's not availability for evening classes, but it does not mean we won't have availability for evening interventions. So again, if parents express a need, then we will see what we can do to move that around. I know many of our teachers are recording their lessons, and so you will still have access to many of those items no matter what time of day is most convenient for your family. Ms. Dennison, the paraprofessional jobs really are based on individual IEPs. So we will, again, of course, it's virtual at this time, but we will put together remote IEPs similar to what we did in the spring. I don't want to speak too much on that because I do utilize my caseworker to make sure I have the most updated guidance on that. So I think we would have to talk about that as a resource team. But those students with IEPs that require a paraprofessional will have one. All right. Ms. Sullivan also mentioned the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, and that might be something that you can utilize in your workplace so to create opportunities for you to be able to work from home. I know there are some limitations in terms of how large the organization has to be and some other pieces, but there is a link there in the chat if that's helpful. We don't, right now, for the students that I have, we're not in a situation where our students would be, let's see, if they were unable to be tested, we would just reschedule that and do it remotely. So yeah, anything. I don't know what was left off the schedule at this point. I'm not aware of anybody that was left off the schedule at this point because again, we met guidelines. But if a student was in problem solving, so they did not yet have an IEP, then we will still pick up when school resumes to complete those assessments remotely. And then, yes, PTO, I encourage you guys to participate in PTO tomorrow. As soon as I hang up from here, I will put the link on the PTO page on the website. I invite you to have the right attitude when you come in. I don't know a better way to say it. It's just that these are very challenging times for everybody and not an easy decision. And we don't have to have a PTO. So those that have helped maintain our PTO have provided wonderful events, gifts for our teachers, and the fact that they are willing to restructure to support families a little bit. I just ask that rather than please don't use PTO as a platform to air your disagreement with whatever decision might be made tonight, but that you would work collaboratively with the PTO and move towards progress in supporting each other. Okay, and then I think that's and Ms. Morgan, that was one of the considerations with hybrid is that the school has to be shut down for cleaning. We had a conversation with board member Wojcicki about whether that's 24 and Ms. Boozer, whether that's 24 hours or 2 days, but that is at any facility that's why you see restaurants and bars shutting down daily in our community. It's not my personal decision to do that. We will have guidelines from our State Board of Education regarding how long we need to shut down for cleaning, and at the least within our district. And also, you're invited to look at ISB guidelines. Those are public postings. You can also visit CDC and IDPH in regards to close contact. Those are posted publicly. Okay, and then it looks like the PTO link is also on the Facebook page if you want to Zoom for that meeting. All right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Thanks for helping guide us through all of those people that wanted to share. So as we move on to roll call action items this evening, looking for a motion to approve the Springfield Ball Charter Schools reopening plan for the fall of 2020 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
Moved by Sheila Boozer and seconded by Brian Wojcicki. Ms. Marquise?
Deborah Weekly,
aye.
Mary Havner,
Aye.
Brian Roziski,
Aye.
Sheila Boozer.
Aye.
Thank you.
And the motion passes. Looking for a motion for the approval of the blended learning school calendar that will be in place for fall of 2020.
So moved.
Second,
Who was the second?
Boozer.
Thank you. Mary Havner,
Aye.
Brian Waziski,
Aye.
Sheila Boozer,
Aye.
Deborah Weekly.
Aye.
Thank you.
The motion passes. And also looking for a motion for approval of the meeting dates that are established for 2020 and 2021 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Oh, Brian, you can have it this time.
Okay, Sheila Boozer,
Aye.
Brian Waziski,
Aye.
Mary Havner,
Aye.
Deborah Weekly.
Aye.
Thank you.
And the motion passes. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the board this evening? I think we got everything. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time and your participation and all of your efforts in this crazy new endeavor. So thank you very much. Looking for a motion to adjourn at 8:07 this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thanks,
much for all your
everyone.
work.
Bye. Keep up the
Great
great
job.
work, everyone. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.